Nyarlathotep, the crawling kings. I am the last. I will tell the audience more. I do not recall distinctly when it began, but it was months ago. The general attention was horrible. To a season of political social evil was added a strange and brooding apprehension of a hideous physical danger. A danger widespread and all-embracing, such a danger as might be imagined only in the most terrible phantasm of the night. Tax Pax Yoksot. Polaris Megapodopus. I recall that the people went about the pale, with pale and worried faces, and whispered warning and prophecies, which no one dare consciously repeat or acknowledge to himself that he had heard. Sense of monstrous guilt was upon the land, and out of the abysses between the stars swept chill currents that made men shiver in dark and lonely places. There was a demoniac alteration in the sequence of the seasons. The autumn hit and guard for summer. And everyone felt that the world, and perhaps the universe, have passed from the control of known gods to all forces, to that of gods or forces which were unknown. And it was then that Nyarlathotep came out of Egypt. Who he was, no one could tell, but he was of the old native blood and looked like a pharaoh. The Falahin knelt when they saw him, yet could not say why. He said he had risen up out of the blackness of 27 centuries. and that he had heard messages from places not on this planet. Into the lands of nihilization game, Nyarlathotep swore to slender, sinister, always buying strange instruments of glass and metal and combining them into instruments yet stranger. He spoke much of the sciences, electricity and psychology, and gave exhibitions of power which sent his spectators away speechless. Yet which swelled his fame to exceeding magnitude. Men advised one another to see Nyarlathotep and shuddered. And where Nyarlathotep went, rest vanished, for the small hours were rent with the screams of the nightmare. Never before had the screams of nightmare been such a public problem. Now the wise men almost wished they could forbid sleep in the small hours. The death shrieks, how the city smile less horribly, disturbed the pale, pitying moon as it glimmered on the green waters, gliding on the bridges, and whole steeples crumbling against a sickly sky. I remember when the Nyarlathotep came to my city. The great, the old, the terrible city of unnumbered crimes. My friend had told me of him and of the impelling fascination and allurement of his revelations. And I burned with eagerness to explore his uttermost mysteries. My friends said they were horrible and impressive beyond my most favored imaginations. And what was thrown on a screen in the darkness room prophesied things known but Nyarlathotep dared prophecy. And in the sputter of his sparks there was taken from man that which had never been taken before yet, which showed only in the eyes. And I heard it hinted abroad that those who knew Nyarlathotep looked on sights which others saw not. It was in the hard atom that I went through the night with restless crowds to see Nyarlathotep, through the stifling light and up the endless stairs into the joking room. And shadowed on a screen I saw hooded forms amidst rooms, and yellow evil faces peering from the behind fallen monuments. And I saw the world battling against blackness, against the waves of destruction. From ultimate space, whirling, churning, struggling around the dimming, cooling sun. And her stood up on the end, whilst shadows more grotesque than I can tell came out and shouted at the heads. Sparks played amazingly around the heads of the spectators. And when I, who was colder and more scientific than the rest, mumbled a trembling protest about imposture and static electricity, Nyarlathotep drove us aloud down the dizzy stairs into the damp, hot, deserted midnight streets. I screamed aloud that I was not afraid, that I never could be afraid. And others screamed with me for silence. We swore to one another that the city was exactly the same and still alive. But when the electric lights began to fade, we cast the company over and over again, and laughed at the queer faces we made. I believed we felt something coming down from the greenish moon. For when we began to depend on its light, we drifted into curious, involuntary marching formation and seemed to know our destination through. We dare not think of them. Once we looked at the pavement, I found the blocks loose and displaced by grass and scars, a line of rusted metal to show where the tramways had run. And again we saw a tram car windowless, dilapidated and almost on its side. When we gazed around the horizon, We could not find the third tower by the river, and noticed that the silhouette of the second tower was ragged at the top. Then was split up into narrow columns, each of which seemed drawn in a different direction. One disappeared in a narrow alley to the left, leaving only the echo of a shaking moon. Another fell down a wet-choked subway entrance, howling with a laughter that was mad. My own column was sucked toward the open country. Presently I found a chill which was not of the hot atom, for as we stalked out on the dark moor, we beheld around us the hellish moon glitter of evil snows. Trackless, inexplicable snows swept asunder in one direction only, where lay a gulf all the blacker for its glittering walls. The column seemed very thin, indeed, as it plodded dreamily into the gulf. I lingered behind, for the black rift in the green-litten snow was frightful, and I thought I had heard the reverberation of a disquieting wail as my companions vanished. But my power to linger was slight. As if beckoned by those who had gone before, I half floated between the titanic snowdrifts, quivering and afraid into the slightless vortex of unimaginable. Screamingly sentient, dumbly delirious, only the gods that were can tell. A second sensitive shadow written in hands that are not hands. And we are blindly past ghastly midnights of rotting creation, corpses of dead worlds, with souls that were cities, charnel winds that brush the pallid stars and make them flicker low. Beyond the walls, large growth of monstrous things. I've seen columns of sanctified temples that rest on nameless rocks, beneath space and reach, up to dizzy bulge above the spheres of light and darkness. And through this revolting graveyard of the universe, the muffled, murdering beating of drums and monotonous whines of blasphemous flutes, and from inconceivable, unlighted chambers beyond time. With a stable pounding and piping, whirled to dance slowly, awkwardly, and absurdly, the gigantic Tenebrous ultimate guts the blind, voiceless, mindless gargoyles whose soul is Nyarlathotep. Crunchy from Yugot, Nyarlathotep, and at the last from Inner Egypt came the strange dark one to whom the Falah spoke, silent and lean and cryptically proud, and wrapped in fabrics, red and sunset flame. Throngs pressed around, frantic for his commands. The living could not tell what they had heard, while through the nations spread their awestruck words. The wild beasts followed him and licked his hands. So from the sea an noxious bird began, forgotten lands with its spheres of gold. The ground was cleft, and mad auroras brought down the quaking citadels. Crushing what he chanced to mold in play, the idiot chaos blew Earth's dust away.